6 mental toughness keys authentic, purpose-driven leaders live by. Now, many of you know that back in 1990, something happened to me that was pretty serious, in my reality at least, and that is that I fell off a mountain. Now, if you don't know that story, you can certainly go back and look at other videos and you'll find all kinds of insights into that. However, without going into too much detail right here, what I want you to know is that yes, in 1990, I fell off a mountain. I got smashed to pieces. My entire reality got broken, not just my body, not just my face, which was completely destroyed and reconstructed. But my point to you is this, here's my belief. I believe that we all have falls. Mine was quite literal. Obviously, I fell off a mountain. Yours may not have been literal. Yours might have been a horrible diagnosis, a bankruptcy, a divorce, you lost somebody that you love. But these are all falls. These are all ways for us to fall. And there's great metaphysical stories around this. There's great mythical stories around people going through their fall. There's the term the dark night of the soul. And these are experiences where we have our fall, where we go through an experience of having fall from the reality that we're in into another reality. And, you know, I've said oftentimes that I pretty much physically looked pretty normal within about 5 months of that fall, surprisingly. And I had a lot of great surgeons who did amazing work. And if you didn't know me, I looked pretty normal on the outside. But on the inside, of course, I was still very damaged and very hurt, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, physically, at every possible level, although I looked okay. And one of the things that I came to as a conclusion was that that fall was there to wake me up. It was there to wake me up. And so I want you to consider for a moment, I want you to just take a moment and consider, what was your fall? If we all have falls, what was yours? What is yours? Maybe you're in it right now. What was your fall? And more importantly than the fall, because the fall itself is actually not that important. I know it seems really important at the time. If somebody had told me mine wasn't important when I was going through it, I would have punched them in the head, I'm sure, or certainly shouted some kind of abuse at them at the time. But the truth of the matter is, it's actually not that important. The fall is a catalyst. Do you get that? The fall is a catalyst. It's a catalyst to something else. The fall is there to wake you up from something and to wake you up to something. So let's take a look at that for a minute. So I had a fall, 1990. It was there to wake me up from something, and it's there to wake me up to something. So the question is, what was it waking me up from? We can, you know, when you think about your fall, what is it waking you up from? For many people, it's waking them up from the idea that they have to work 90 hours a week. For some people, it's waking them up from the fact that they're workaholic, from the fact that they are not taking care of their health. For some people, it's waking up, you know, there's all kinds of reasons it's waking you up from. What I mean by that is, what is it waking you up from? Meaning, what is it you are doing automatically that you do without even thinking about it, that you've got 1,000 justifications for doing, but it's pretty much automatic? What is your fall waking you up from? That's the question that you want to consider. And then when you've considered that, here's another piece for you to grasp. It's not just waking you up from something, but waking you up to something. So if it's going to wake you up from something, then you become awake to something. You get to see something you hadn't seen before. You get to realize something you maybe hadn't realized before. My fall was to wake me up, and I'm going to be really straight with you, it was to wake me up from my ego. See, before I felt like I was the most successful person I'd ever been, and that was certainly true. But I was beginning to feel egoic. I mean, I actually believed that I could change people. I believed that it was me that was changing people. I actually believed that. And not saying it doesn't ever happen, of course it still happens, but I actually lived from that place. I was speaking all over the world. I was having all kinds of success. But I actually felt like I was doing it, not that they were doing it. I felt like I was the guru. And that's why I actually don't like that term. Like it was, I had to wake up from that I was on this self-installed pedestal, and I needed to wake up from the fact that I was on that pedestal. In fact, you've heard me say that when I fell, I didn't fall 120 feet off a mountain, although I did. What I actually fell off was a 120-foot self-imposed pedestal. That's what I actually had to fall off. That was what I had to wake up from. So what was I waking up to? Well, what I had to wake up to was my purpose. That was not anything to do with my ego. I had to wake up to something far greater, far deeper than my purpose. Than my ego, rather. I had to wake up to my purpose. So what are you waking up from? What is your fall calling you to wake up from? And what is your fall calling you to wake up to? What is it that you need to find? What is it that you need to see that you're in an automatic slumber, that when you actually get a crack on the head, you get the diagnosis, you get the bankruptcy, you get those horrible things from happening? What is it that it's waking you up to? That's my question. You see, now here's the interesting thing about this. When we have a fall, as I said, whether it's literal, financial, mental, emotional, whatever it is, when we have a fall, we feel incredibly threatened. You see, everything that was real, everything that was your usual reality, everything that was the way it is suddenly devastated, is suddenly taken away. It is no more. And in that moment, we feel incredibly threatened. Our reality as we know it is gone. That feels like a threat. Now here's what I want you to understand. That when we are threatened, the ego goes into full-blown overcharge. It just goes crazy. It's going to try and protect you. It's not bad, it's just trying to protect you. It tries to protect you by making things as normal as possible, and you've just destroyed normal with whatever happened in the situation that's created the fall. Now here's what I want you to know about that. When you feel threatened, when we feel threatened, and certainly when I feel threatened, we become very selfish. When I felt threatened, I became a complete selfish wanker. I mean, a total selfish asshole. It was all about me. It was all about what makes me happy. And it was all really pretty much fuck everybody else. This is what matters. Screw everybody. It's all about me. It's about self-preservation. That's what happens when you feel under threat. And so as a result, we then go out looking for things that will make us happy. But the thing you need to know about that is happiness is transitional. It's passing by. Happiness is not a permanent state. It's something that's just passing by. It's very different than joy. Happiness is a state that comes, it goes, it's transitional, it just flows through us. Joy, however, so the thing about happiness tends to happen when something happens from the outside in. Somebody comes up and tickles you, you feel happy. You see a comedy, you feel happy. Somebody gives you something, you feel happy. Whereas joy is a different thing. Joy is a deeper feeling. Happiness is an emotion, whereas joy is a feeling. And a feeling has much greater depth. And what I want to put to you is this, that what I had to wake up from was my pursuit of happiness. And what I had to wake up to was my purpose, and in finding true joy. And here's what I discovered that I want to share with you, that joy comes from serving. Joy comes from serving. You see, your true purpose is always connected to how you serve. If you're serving, then you're probably in line with your purpose. If you want more joy, if you want more focus, if you want more clarity, then serve. Give. If you want greater alignment with your purpose, serve. Maybe right now, in this very moment, maybe the problem, that big thing that you are dealing with, is calling you to make you better. It's actually there to assist you being better. Lost $1 million? Can you use this moment to bring it back? Lost a person you love, somebody you deeply care about, whether that was the end of a relationship or the passing of somebody. Ask yourself, what can you do in this moment to bring it back? And I think you'll discover the answer is usually nothing. There's nothing you can do to instantaneously bring back the $1 million you lost, or the last $10 you lost, or the person who left. There's nothing you can do. So you can choose to suffer, or you can choose to serve. You can choose to serve by making this moment a little better for somebody else, a little better for those around you. Something happened to me back in 2008, 2009, probably happened to many people who are even watching this, and that is that I went through a financial disaster, a bit of a struggle to say the least. It made things very tough. And I went into that protective mode, which is what we all go into initially. And then I chose something else. I chose to serve. And the first thing I did was add to my email signature the word gratitude. I moved to a state of gratitude. I began to recognize that what if this, whatever it's happening, is there, it's calling me to be better. You've got a bad diagnosis. What if it's calling you to be a better person? Somebody left you. What if it's calling you to be a better person? Your business has gone down the toilet. What if it's calling you to be a better person? What if it's there to wake you up from who you were, to wake you up to who you truly are, to being inside of your purpose, to be the kind of person that you want to be, that your heart and your soul calls you out to be? What if it's there to call you to be a better person? That's what I want you to know. You can suffer or you can serve, and immediately you commit to serving. It won't feel that good initially, but very quickly it will shift, it will transform. It will transform you at every level of your frequency, every level of your resonance, and every level of your thinking will all change dramatically and dynamically when you choose to serve rather than suffer. So how do you get that mental toughness that the great authentic and purpose-driven leaders have? What are the 6 keys that you can apply to your life right now? The first one is become present. Become present. Actually notice where you are. Number 1, notice where you are. Is your head somewhere else? Where are you? So right now I'm here, I'm sitting here. I can feel the weight of my bum on the chair. How are you breathing? Become present. Notice the light around you. Become totally present. Number 1. Number 2, become mindful. Become mindful of the emotions that you're running. Notice that emotions are transitory. Notice that emotions are moving through you. Happiness, sadness, anger, those are all transitional. They're not permanent. None of that is permanent. So just become mindful of it. Mindful of it means don't judge it. Don't get too harsh on it. Don't say, oh, it's terrible, it's bad, or any of those things. Just notice it. Just become mindful of it. That's what it is. Number 3, the third key to having that mental toughness that every purpose-driven, authentic leader has is this. Choose to be loving rather than choosing to be right. When we are hurt, when we feel the loss, when we are in pain, when shit happens, it's very easy to look out there and go, it's them, it's their fault. They did this. It's very easy to blame, but choose to be loving rather than be right. You might still be right, but you can choose to be loving. It's not about making you wrong, but you can choose to be loving. And the fourth key in this process follows directly in line with that choose to be loving, which is apply empathy and compassion. Empathy and compassion. You've heard me talk about this on some of the other shows, but if you haven't, I want to quickly go over it with you. Empathy is putting yourself in someone else's shoes, allowing yourself to step into their reality, get a sense of what it's like for them. See, maybe they're being an asshole because they feel threatened. Maybe you are threatening them. Maybe that's not your intention. Maybe your intention is to be incredibly loving and kind, but they're reading it as a threat. So choose to be in a place of compassion as well as empathy. Empathy is to put yourself in their shoes, but compassion is, while standing in their shoes, is to do something about it, to take an action. The fifth key that all mentally tough, purpose-driven, authentic leaders live by, the fifth key is the one that I actually mentioned a few minutes ago, and that is to move into a state of gratitude. Become deeply grateful. Become grateful for the fact that you can breathe. Be grateful for the fact that your feet touch the floor in the morning when you get out of bed and that you can stand up straight. Be grateful for the fact that you have all your limbs. Be grateful for that your heart beats. Be grateful for any kindness that has been shown to you in the past, even if you can't see it in the present. Be grateful for that somebody gifted you life. Even if you had a terrible parent or terrible parents, they gifted you life. You don't have to like them, you don't have to hang out with them, but you can become grateful for the fact that they brought you into the world, that they gave you life. You can be grateful for the moments. I mean, maybe you've just come out of this horrible breakup, but you can be grateful for the gifts that were given to you inside that relationship, for the moments of bliss that you maybe had. And maybe for the wake-up call that you're being given right now. I'm not suggesting that you're going to feel particularly grateful for that in the moment of the pain, but you can go to that a little bit later. But in this moment, while you're in the pain, while the pain is calling you to be better, choose to be grateful. And the sixth key that all mentally tough, purpose-driven, authentic leaders live by is the one that I started out with, which is that they are committed to serve. Become dynamically committed to serve. Sit up, focus on how can I serve, who can I serve, what can I serve. Right now, what can I serve? One of the greatest cures for depression is to find a way to serve others. Find a way to serve. You go, but I don't have anything. Yes, you do. Yes, you do. Find out how you can serve, what you can do to serve in this moment. If you're in pain, if you're in struggle, ask yourself, why are you here? Why are you in this pain? What is this calling you to be better? How is it calling you to be better? What is it there to wake you up from? What is this pain and this struggle that you're going through? What is it calling you to wake up from? And what is it calling you to wake up to? What is this pain, this struggle, this challenge calling you to remember? What if it's calling you to remember your purpose? Not here, not at a head level, but at a deep heart and soul level. People contrive purpose with their head, but purpose has got nothing to do with your head. It's got nothing to do with your contrived ideas of what you think your purpose should be. It's got everything to do with your heart and your soul crying out to make the difference. How is your problem, how is your fall going to make you a better person? How is this fall, this situation, this circumstance going to allow you to access greater, deeper greatness within you? How is this situation calling you to access the deep greatness that has laid dormant within you for way too long? That's my question to you. And that, my friend, is what I want you to become curious about. It's Dov Baron, fullmontyleadership.com, saying, stay curious, my friend, stay curious about how you can apply these 6 keys of mental toughness that every authentic, purpose-driven leader lives by, and how whatever it is that's going on in your life is actually calling you to your deep greatness. Deep greatness that has laid dormant within you for far too long. If you are indeed committed to accessing and developing that deep greatness within you, then reach out to me, Dov Baron, at fullmontyleadership.com. I am your deep greatness mentor and coach. Till next time, this is Dov Baron, fullmontyleadership.com. Stay curious, my friends. Stay curious. I'm out.